Hi guys, so we did it. I have a new reading to share, but I just wanted to take a minute to share those happy moments from that great Saturday when Joe Biden was officially elected president. Clearly I'm on my woodsy, snowy long weekend, which did last longer than expected because we got a blizzard. And but it was fun to be there in the snow, and also just fun to sit there all day and watch all these people dancing in the streets and celebrating. It was so awesome to watch Joe and Kamala's speeches that night. They were so amazing. It was such a unified, great feeling. I was so happy. It really just felt like so much lifted, and the best part was that it felt like we didn't need Trump's permission to move forward. I know things are getting a little like, of course, it seemed like we had about 24, 48 hours of just feeling so great. Now we're kind of getting back into some guck, but I think we'll just keep going back into the good feeling. We'll have some back and forth for a little while, but I just wanted to point out something that's kind of amazing, which you may or may not have noticed. But that Saturday when Joe won and officially Trump lost, that was exactly 5 weeks after a dream I had, and the message in the dream told me 5 weeks, and I did a reading on it. These are the cards from that reading, by the way, in case there's any confusion, that you can find called Dream Drops, and I've added 5 weeks in parentheses. And I had that dream, I did the math, and it took me to 5 days after the election. And so I've mentioned it in a couple of reads since, wondering if that's when Trump will go. And we had the 3rd was the election, and then we waited the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th was the day it was announced. So it was pretty right on. And while he didn't physically go, which I did when I did the reading, I thought that maybe I was seeing, because in the reading, I mentioned also in that dream, I got that song, Take Another Little Piece of My Heart, by Janis Joplin. So I sort of put it together, and I had gotten these 2 cards, which I read as, yeah, I think that there will be a heart incident, right? But I do see this now. The cards told me exactly right. This is the announcement of the Joe Biden presidency, the win. And this is, just how he feels, how Trump feels inside this 3 of Swords. He's destroyed. It's over. And I do, when I watched that read back, there is quite a bit, I do think that the heart is still relevant, his physical heart. And in my reading that I'm about to share, I feel like there were some parallels between that read and some of the stuff I felt I got in this read. There's more cards. So if you do go back and feel like watching that, because it's a lot about how I feel like he leaves, but you can skip. There's also some Henry Kissinger stuff that I have not seen become relevant, and I don't know if we'll ever see anything on that. You could skip that if you wanted to check out that read, but it's all here. It's just so interesting. I always say the cards always get it right. Sometimes we, like I did, sort of jumped to a heart incident when really it was the emotional moment. And the judgment's here, and the judgment with the Ace of Swords, this was that Saturday. The judgment is called, the announcement is made. I just love it. And what else? Oh yeah, I also wanted to talk about another reading I did on Bill Barr from a few weeks ago. It's called Bill Barr In or Out. And I mention that because if you missed it, or if you are now seeing that Bill Barr is doing some stuff, I just find it really interesting because I saw that Bill Barr was not done. And my pendulum also, and one of the reasons I did that read is because my pendulum also said he's not done. And so now we're seeing it. And I mention it because also in that read, I saw that it goes nowhere. So I rewatched it and realized, well, what I had gotten in the cards was, yes, that he did have something that he would come out with, but that it seemed to just go nowhere. And I felt this on the right side, it just felt like all blue, all the new, and the light energy moving forward. The Biden blue wave energy, whereas this heavy stuff was still trying to be relevant, like the Bill Barr stuff, but that it just sort of sinks. So I feel like that read says a lot about what I think we're going through and what's coming as far as that Barr stuff. And it also is so interesting because I just looked and noticed that he's even making some calls on the Epstein stuff, which I saw in that read as well, that was something that was on his mind. He's protecting himself by trying to cover up a lot of this Epstein stuff, and he just did something. I'll share the headline here. Anyway, so yeah, those two reads I thought might be kind of interesting to mention. And other than that, I'll go ahead and share the read I did last night, which was on Trump's next 5 weeks. So I hope you enjoy that, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye. I think we'll go with the Morgan Greer. Yeah. So what I want to read on, let's look at Donald Trump in the next 5 weeks. That's good. Oh, okay, I immediately got this. I'm putting it out. Donald Trump in the next 5 weeks. So here's what I get for that, for Trump next 5 weeks. So first I see him in this Three of Wands, which is like a card of looking overseas, okay? So this could very well be looking for direction from Putin. What do I do? Or looking toward where will I go next. I think, he jokes about leaving the country if he loses. He really might be thinking about that right now. I know he just did this big billion-dollar, he just announced this big deal with the United Emirates, with the UAE, selling arms to them. This could be that deal that he's working out. Maybe trying to figure out what he can do to help these allies, these corrupt dictator allies in his last days, and if they can help him somehow, I suppose. But I feel like my first thing was just, oh, he's seeing what Putin is going to tell him what to do. On the surface, we're not seeing much of him, are we? So this is the Page of Cups. I feel he's just doing this. I thought of this as like his Twitter theater, he's just sort of putting out theater, but not even that much. So seeking help overseas, covered by, I also read this as denial, like a child. He's being like a child, this Page of Cups. Like everything's fine. There's a regression. I feel there's a regression in his personality. Maybe a little delusion. I mean, look, there's this fish coming out of this cup. It's like fantasy, daydream. I mean, this is also a card of like theater. Fantasy, daydream, that's sort of where he is. Like when he's not seeking advice, he's just pretending. Weird, very weird feeling. At the surface, this Four of Swords, more of that retreating. So I feel like we haven't really seen him out much or speaking much. So he's sort of sitting back wondering what to do, maybe. That seems right. Sitting back wondering what to do. At the base, I mean, this is why. It's because of this very strong Ten of Cups. Democrats won. This is the Democratic win. I have often gotten this, cups being water, Democrats, and I've often gotten this for the feeling, the future, with starting with Biden, getting us past this and moving toward a more loving, united future. It's, a lot of happiness. This is us. I feel this is a lot of America just being really happy and excited to move forward, wanting to do really good things for other Americans. So that's like there, and driving him to be hiding and feeling weak. I feel him to be weak, by the way. Like there's no, like, the only major, well, we have a couple major arcanas here, but he's not one of them. It's just things happening to him that are big, but he doesn't feel big to me. In the past, we have this Page of Swords, and I want to put it with this, what's coming, which is this Tower card. So, and I feel like I've seen a lot of readers are getting this Tower card right now for Trump. So that makes a lot of sense. I did get some clarifiers on this Tower card, which is interesting because I was just talking about that deal, that billion-dollar arms deal they just announced. I feel like I see that here in his Tower. This is taking in a great deal of wealth. So somehow his Tower is related to taking in a great deal of wealth. And I think this Eight of Wands is us hearing about it. So like, that feeling of a self-enrichment is what I'm getting in this Nine of Pentacles. So his own self-enrichment is related to his fall that I really think is coming sooner than later. This would be the later final outcome. And this Wheel of Fortune has been coming up in so many of my more recent reads as, all of this that's happening. I mean, Biden is rising and others are falling. And, thanks to our votes and our unity, yes, that's happening. So this Tower, with that Wheel of Fortune tells me that whatever this big tower is that's coming, it knocks him right off. I mean, he already is knocked off, but it's some kind of a powerful throw. It does have to do with self-enrichment. And I see this Page of Swords here in the recent past having to do with this Tower as possibly like a journalist or someone, maybe a low-level whistleblower or leaker. Someone low-level within the administration who, that sword being some knowledge, who passes on some knowledge that leads to this Tower that's coming. And that has to do with self-enrichment, surely from his power as president, trying to line his pockets before he leaves. It's so awful. And so this Eight of Wands here, things happening fast is one of the meanings of this card. It's like quick changes happening fast. It can be a lot of news stories dropping, a lot happening. So I would expect something big to be coming soon that will help to take him off of his high horse, off of his power pedestal, and maybe even, ruin him even bigger, like revealing that who he really is, which is just a self-enriching traitor. So that's what's coming. Now this is also sort of relates to him right now, similar to these cards in this position. So I actually read this as, this is sort of the environment he's in, like at this moment, right? Even more so than his life position. It's like, where is he in his day, I think that he is indulging in food and drink. This Nine of Cups. I think, and we've discussed this on this channel, that I think that he does drink. And, you know, most people know that he also indulges in other things to intoxicate himself, including things like fast food, I mean, or just junk food. So I see him eating and drinking in order to stay in a sort of weird, yucky state of mind, at least, you know, from what I'm picturing. It's sort of a dull, it's like a dull stupor, like a dull drunken stupor or something. I'm also watching back and seeing this as his stubbornness, his refusal to give up power, to concede really to any loss, let alone this monumental loss that we can all see and we're all waiting for him to accept. It's like he's got his arms crossed in his room and he's counting all the ways he can still hold on to power, all the powerful people who might still help him, and he's just refusing to give in. He's just not going to go down easily. And this strength card I see as those around him, you know, maybe they're the ones bringing him the things that may keep him in this sort of stupor where he can feel sort of artificial warmth inside of him. They want to keep him kind of calm and appeased and in this even, I say even because it's like almost like drugging him into just not, until he can accept what's happening, I guess. At least that's how I feel like these people are doing it. He's got all of his yes men around. You know, this woman in this strength card, like sort of stroking that lion. And then when I get it with this card where I feel it's food and drink, it just sort of feels related to that. Try to keep the lion calm. Man, how pathetic that you have to treat a president of the United States like that. Everyone treating, there's such a childishness that I feel, that in that like sort of regression that I was saying I felt in this card. Hopes and fears. This is my new Joe Biden as president card. And you've seen it in when he goes up there and he talks as president. He's no longer the King of Cups where he's pouring his heart out. Now he's being strong. And he has to be strong right now because that's what we need in this moment, taking that win that he earned and making sure it's making sure it's done with very strong conviction and assuredness for us. So Trump, is afraid of Joe Biden. He's afraid of Joe Biden being stronger than him. And then the long-term outcome, this does sort of take me to a similar feeling ending that I got in my Dream Drops 5 weeks read from 5 weeks before Trump lost. I misread it as that he would be leaving in exactly 5 weeks from that dream. In fact, it was that he lost exactly 5 weeks from that dream and Biden won. But anyway, in that read, this 8 of Cups, this is leaving. Just finally turning away and leaving a situation. It's not a happy leaving, but it is a moving on. And then we have this 2 of Wands, which I've also been getting as like the beginning of a new journey. I've been feeling this for us, or for, Democrats, the country, finally moving into the first stages of the Biden presidency. So he does leave. The Biden presidency continues to go forward. This could also, I don't like to think of him as moving into a new adventure, but it can also be him moving into the next stage of his life. And then with this Moon card, this is where I feel, and I've felt this before, that when he does go, it will be like kind of quiet. It won't be a big event. It won't be a big press conference or whatever. I just think he like steals away into the night. I mean, that Moon card. And everyone wonders what in the world happened. He just, And then we have another 2 here. This makes me think there will be an in-between period Okay, so it's like I don't see him as waiting until inauguration to leave. I think he leaves before inauguration. Kind of that sneaking off into the night, and this sort of interim period, this Two of Pentacles. Who knows, maybe it's Pence or, you know, a sort of in-between period. Couple of side stories. So yeah, when I got to this card before I pulled the final three, this leaving card. Oh yeah, so this, I felt some things here. I feel that Trump is feeling vulnerable. I don't think I've ever gotten him as a King of Cups. And that is how he's feeling now, this regression. He's like a child, and he feels vulnerable, and he's looking to an emperor, okay? It's like he's looking to an emperor, a father. An emperor can just kind of represent also the strong men, that whoever he perceives as the strong men. It could be Putin here. Just the patriarchy that has held him up. He's wanting them to protect him. He wants the patriarchy that, you know, you'd think of like the Mitch McConnells and the, you know, those super macho Republican types, the older men who sort of think that they're like the authorities. He really wants their protection. And this Hanged Man tells me that he's waiting, he waits. He might give it some time before he goes in order to make sure he's got this, whatever protection he thinks he's gonna get. I'm afraid that once again, this Knight of Cups, I feel to be a pardon that he wants on his way out. Again, it doesn't protect him. He's gonna have his karma. And remember also that this pardon would not include anything leading up to his inauguration. So if there's plenty that they can still investigate. And, you know, maybe the pardon gets thrown out somehow. Not to mention that New York investigators would be totally unaffected by a presidential pardon. They can still do everything they already have on their plate for Trump. This, I actually feel like we're just happy. Oh, and I know this card also has been telling me like the holidays, okay? Like I feel like it could be like December, like before Christmas. Or it's like Christmas is like, it's funny how on Saturday when Biden won, it felt a little bit like Christmas, didn't it? I mean, you know, for someone who grew up with Christmas, but I know like other religions have other holidays that are sort of like just that feeling. It just felt like a holiday. But this, I do believe that this is telling me it's December, like mid to late December. And then I was gonna end there, but then I saw these and I just thought this is, he's got the lie, because I suddenly am like all these upside down cards at once. I'm like, this is his lie, the lie he tells himself, the lie he tells his supporters, and on his way out. This King of Swords upside down, this Four of Cups upside down. And this Justice does tell me that, you know, however he leaves, there's justice hanging over him. Like I think they just have things on him, and therefore he has to take this deal and go. And this is just all the lies. This King of Swords, he just tells a different narrative. Although interestingly, I wonder if the deal would involve him not being able to speak. Is that possible? No, that would be justice. Because it does feel like this upside down King of Swords, you can't talk, and this upside down King of Four of Cups would be like, you can't talk about the deal that we gave you. You can't talk about this. That would be the best thing to save this country, is if he would just have to shut up. That would be justice. If he can't walk away with all of his lies. And then this upside down king, this Ten of Swords has been his ending for me for a while. Upside down. Upside down. It almost just feels like he gives up. With the World card, the World card being that completion. It feels like Trump runs out of moves. He runs out of options and he has to go. Like, I'm guessing the Electoral College does finally call it for Biden. And that upside down 10 of Swords is like our relief that this tortured ending to this Trump presidency is finally lifting off of us and he is gone. Like, he can't hurt us anymore. Okay. Stop destroying this country. You need to stop. I think that's what that is, yeah. That is the deal, like this justice deal I'm feeling here being like a legal deal to stop destroying this country. And this is the end of it. Wow, interesting. And then after I put down these other two cards, I get, oh yeah, here's our Empress card. This is just America. Like, finally we can start over. And this 7 of Pentacles being a sort of gardening card, which is interesting. We can sort of start to get to work, which is what we've talked about. And the High Priestess is here also. And you see her, I was really drawn to her hands, like about to unscroll this scroll, right? I thought that was really interesting. Like, as we begin and move forward, we will learn more about the wrongdoing that happened under Trump. So there's that. It will be a part of the moving forward and growing. And then that Fool card, which has been the new beginning, that 0 card, and it's like a whole new beginning for us. So that's cool. I did see a couple other cards after that I do think is part of what we'll learn. So that's what I have for Trump moving forward. Like, I mean, when if nothing else, we've got the Tower and we've got the leaving. It's all going in that direction. I've got my Wheel of Fortune. He's getting kicked out. My strong Biden here. I mean, even this, he's retreated. He's looking overseas. He's not even looking in this card. All you're getting is he's regressing into this child. He's indulging in just comfort food and drink and drug, perhaps. And they're just sort of coddling him to keep him calm. It's so sad. I mean, pathetic. And then, this just down at the base of it all is this big win and this new beginning that we have coming for us that he can't get away from. It's at the base of everything. He cannot get away from this. And always what is at the bottom is like rising. So great. Thanks, you guys. And as always, feel free to share anything you're getting on your end in your reads and or thoughts you had on the cards as you watched this read. I'm always happy to share my reads with you guys. I hope you liked it, and please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.